Have you ever noticed how people from different parts of the world express their emotions in totally different ways? For example, a smiley face in US is expressed as a semicolon and a close bracket, but in South Korea it is expressed as lua, a caret, an underscore, and a caret. Did you notice the difference? In some cultures, like in many Eastern countries, a look in the eyes can say more than 1,000 words. That's why the emoji's eyes are shifting instead of the mouth like in Western cultures. Meanwhile, in Western cultures, we're often taught to wear our hearts on our sleeves and express our feelings through our mouths, whether it's with a big smile, a frown, or a shout. So why is that? Let's dive into the fascinating cultural differences in how we express emotions, using our eyes versus our mouth. First, let's talk about non-verbal communication. Did you know that up to 93% of our communication is non-verbal? That's right. Only 7% of communication comes from the words we speak, while the rest comes from things like body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. Across the world, we rely on these non-verbal cues to express how we're feeling, especially when it comes to emotions like happiness, anger, sadness, or excitement. But here's the thing. The way we use these cues can vary widely from culture to culture. In Western cultures, we're often taught to express our emotions openly and verbally, whether it's through a loud laugh or a confident, "I'm happy." On the other hand, many Eastern cultures emphasize subtlety, restraint, and non-verbal communication, particularly through the eyes. But why is this? Let's explore. Let's start with Eastern cultures. In countries like Japan, China, Korea, and other parts of East Asia, eye contact plays a huge role in emotional expression. But it's not just about locking eyes with someone, it's more about what the eyes convey when you're not saying a word. In these cultures, there's a deep cultural value placed on harmony, respect, and understanding without having to speak. For example, a glance or a subtle shift in the eyes can convey emotions like gratitude, anger, or embarrassment, without saying anything at all. In Japan and South Korea, maintaining direct eye contact with someone in authority, like a teacher or a boss, can be seen as disrespectful or confrontational. On the flip side, avoiding eye contact can indicate shyness, humility, or respect. The eyes are often a more private space where emotions are subtly conveyed. This is also connected to the concept of reading the air, or kuki wo yomu in Japan, which means understanding the unspoken feelings or atmosphere in a situation. In this context, a slight look in the eyes can reveal a lot more than a spoken word ever could. This non-verbal communication style helps people navigate social hierarchies and maintain group harmony, where overt displays of emotion might disrupt the collective balance. Now, let's take a look at Western cultures, like in the United States and many parts of Europe, where emotional expression tends to focus more on the mouth, whether it's through verbal communication or facial expressions. Western cultures generally place a higher value on individuality, self-expression, and transparency. So how we feel is often directly expressed through our faces and voices. In these cultures, when we're happy, we smile. When we're angry, we might frown or speak out. When we're sad, our face might show it clearly. And we're often encouraged to verbalize our feelings too, whether it's through telling someone, "I'm upset," or "I'm so excited." One major difference is that in Western societies, there's an expectation that emotions are shared openly and directly. This can be empowering because it encourages people to speak their truth. But it can also lead to emotional exhaustion or conflict, since there's less room for non-verbal cues and more pressure to articulate everything. So why the difference? It all comes down to cultural values, like the role of the individual versus the collective, and the importance of maintaining harmony in social settings. In many Eastern cultures, the group's well-being and maintaining social harmony are paramount. There's often an emphasis on restraint. Expressing emotions too openly can disrupt the flow of social interactions. Subtle emotional expressions through the eyes allow people to communicate feelings without drawing too much attention to themselves or causing discomfort in others. In contrast, Western cultures tend to prioritize individualism. People are encouraged to assert their opinions, express their emotions, and stand out. This leads to a more open display of feelings, whether it's through verbal communication or expressive facial gestures. The mouth becomes the primary outlet for these emotions, as it's seen as a direct and clear way to communicate what you feel. This difference also reflects the values embedded in these cultures. In the East, there's a cultural focus on saving face, maintaining dignity, and not losing control of one's emotions in public. The eyes, being more private and less obvious, can convey subtle emotions without a loss of face. On the other hand, in the West, speaking your truth is often seen as a sign of personal strength and authenticity. Let's dive deeper into why the eyes are so significant in Eastern cultures. The eyes are often considered the window to the soul. They convey deep emotions that words may not capture. For example, in China, Korea, and Japan, there's a saying, "A person who can see the heart with their eyes," meaning someone who can read your true feelings without you having to say a word. In these cultures, subtle changes in the eyes, like a slight narrowing, a soft gaze, or even a fleeting glance, can reveal everything from sorrow to joy, from respect to defiance. This ability to communicate silently and subtly is often valued because it preserves the overall social atmosphere and keeps things harmonious. In a group setting, instead of vocalizing personal frustrations or desires, people might communicate those feelings through a shared look. This makes the exchange more discreet and respectful of others' space. It's not about being emotionally distant, it's about understanding that your emotional state can be conveyed without overwhelming the people around you. Of course, in today's globalized world, things are changing. With the influence of social media, movies, and international travel, many of these cultural distinctions are blending. People in Eastern cultures are becoming more accustomed to open expression through the mouth, especially through platforms like Instagram or TikTok, where emotions are often shared visually and verbally. Likewise, Western cultures are starting to appreciate the depth of subtle emotional expressions, often adopting mindfulness practices that encourage more subtle communication. But even with these shifts, the differences in how people express emotions, through the eyes or the mouth, still play a significant role in shaping how we relate to one another. So, next time you find yourself in a conversation, take a moment to notice how people are expressing themselves. Are they using their eyes, their mouth, or a combination of both? Understanding these cultural nuances can help us communicate more effectively and empathetically across different cultures. What about you? Do you feel more comfortable expressing yourself with your eyes? Or do you prefer to speak your emotions out loud? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.